everybody. This is Paul Hirschenberg,
And this is Rory Stone-Walsh.
and we are the owners of Hirschenberg Stone-Walsh Insurance Services. We have actually some really exciting news on the health insurance front. So, to give us a little background, when the Affordable Care Act first started, it created what they called the Federal Exchange or Marketplace. It was more or less just a website for people in this country to go on to find affordable health insurance. All the main health insurance companies were there, like your United Healthcares and your Blue Cross Blue Shields of the world. But it was more or less just a place for employees to go on or for people to go on and get health insurance. If they qualified, they could actually get help paying for this insurance based on their income. So even though they might buy an $800 plan, based on their income, the government may have come in and picked up 600 of that, and then the person would actually only have to pay $200 for that plan. So it's actually a really great place for people in this country that may not have been, making 300 grand a year to go out there and find some affordable health insurance. So one of the things that really was wrong with the Affordable Care Act when it was the way it was passed is that there was a kind of a loophole or what we called a glitch in the law. And here was the glitch. If somebody was employed and their employer offered them, the employee, an affordable health insurance plan, which was about 9 point something something of their annual income, then their dependents, their spouse and their kids, could obviously always go to the federal exchange to get health insurance. But because the employee's plan was affordable, the spouse and dependents did not qualify for any subsidy, which made it really expensive for people to cover their dependents if they were on a group plan through their employer. So, Rory, can you maybe step in here and tell us what has changed recently in this?
Yeah, I think the main thing really is that the law, the way it was intended to was written. I think this what they fixed is really how it was intended to be written. So basically, now what's changed is instead of if the employee is deemed to have an affordable coverage and that disqualifies the employee plus their dependents, now if the employee has affordable coverage for employee only coverage, but the employee plus family or employee plus dependents is unaffordable based on the same definition of this 9 point something something law or rule, then now the family qualifies or can qualify to go get a tax credit on the individual health exchange.
So
And
that
that
means more or
potentially,
less.
actually, let me finish up, that could potentially save them hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a year.
Right. So Roy, so we definitely know that anybody who's covering dependents through their group plan through work, we know that a lot of them are going to potentially be able to save a lot of money. So if an employee already has their spouse or dependents covered, uh, how does that affect them in this situation? They've already got coverage.
Okay, so if they have coverage, I think there's a couple things. So we have to kind of decipher two different things. So if an employer has a open enrollment or renewal on January 1st or February 1st of each year, that's when the insurance marketplace or the health insurance individual marketplace has open enrollment. So you kind of the employer has open enrollment at the same time as the federal marketplace. So the open enrollment and the qualifying event would be happening at the same time. So basically, the employee would need to go check it out, see if their family qualified for this tax credit based upon the unaffordability, and then they could add them on. And then when they're enrolling in their coverage, they could just waive their family. Okay, so that's the first way. If you are a company that renews outside of January 1st or February 1st of each year, then you have two different times. The employee has a qualifying event to go enroll January 1st or February 1st, and they could let you know that they're taking their family off, and you would just take them. At that point, they would have to waive their family off the plan at January 1st, February 1st, or at your open enrollment. Let's just say your open enrollment is June 1st. At your June 1st open enrollment, they could also deem that their family now is unaffordable, and they could take them off the plan at that point as well.
Wonderful, thank you. So, I think the next thing is I know that me and you have been really heavily involved with the individual marketplace since it first began. What kind of resources do we have to help the employees figure out if this is a good idea for them or not?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the main thing is we have resources for our clients, for our employees, for their employees, for their families. We can help out. We know how this works. We have an expert in our office, Cheryl Bujold. She all eats, breathes, and sleeps. All she does is individual health insurance. So she can definitely help out, make sure that the employee and their family is set up correctly. We also have a link or a website called Health Sherpa that simplifies healthcare.gov. That's generally where a person would go if they wanted to find out if they qualify for a tax credit on the individual marketplace. We have a link that's dedicated. It's much easier. It's much more user-friendly that we can send these employees of yours as well.
Perfect. So far we've been talking about how this impacts the employee that has dependents. How does this impact the employer?
Actually, one thing I want to throw out here real quick for employees that have dependents that are not on the plan.
Oh,
So
yes.
let's clarify that real quick because I think it's important. Employees that have dependents that are not on the plan. All right. So the open enrollment for the dependents or for health insurance we already established is January 1st, February 1st. That would be the only time in the year that these dependents would be eligible to go get a tax credit because they're not on the employer plan. So the second part of what we talked about earlier, where the June 1st example, those employees' dependents would not be eligible June 1st to go get a tax credit because they aren't on the health insurance plan. So basically we just have to make sure this is very timely especially in November, December, and early January, that these people get this information, because if they miss this, then they don't have another opportunity until next year, until the next open enrollment. So I wanted to clarify that
Very,
real.
no, very, very good information. I think that is a key, and that's probably one of the main reasons why we're getting this video out and trying to make sure that all of our employers, all their office managers, all their HR people, make sure they understand this, because for a lot of those people that just said, "Oh, I'm not going to cover my wife or my kids because it's too expensive," they've got this small window to get this done.
Yep, absolutely. So now back to your original question of the
Yes.
employer. What does this, what's in it for the employer? What do they have to do? So the good news is it's very, very little. Okay, so really the only main thing the employer will have to do is there's one compliance document called your POP plan, or a lot of people hear it, or it's called Section 125 plan. So this has to be amended with the new qualifying event rules that are now officially official, I guess you want to call it, based on this new rule change. So we will be helping out our clients that we do those docs for. Or if you're watching this and we don't do your Section 125 plan, you can reach out to us and we can assist you in getting a new one created, or B, if you have if you have a payroll company or another place or another area that creates this, reach out to them so that they can get this set up for you.
Perfect, perfect. So I think the last thing, Rory, that I really wanted to hit on is obviously I think that we are here to help. If any employee does have questions, we're definitely here to help them. And this actually is a big deal. We've seen numbers where we've seen situations where the employee is covering their wife and kids, and it's as high, because the employer pays a big chunk for the employee. A lot of times they might pay something for the dependents, but we're seeing situations where rates can drop from $1,000, $1,200, $1,300 a month, and cut that in like by 2/3 and drag that down to depending on income, as little as $300-$400 a month, maybe even lower. So I think that at the end of the day, I think this is a big deal for these people that are employees that qualify for this thing. And if anybody does jump off the plan, Rory, is there anything the employer has to do?
Yeah, good call. Good question. So really the main thing is just let us know. Okay, so if you're one of those employers that's January 1st, February 1st, this happens during open enrollment, they waive their family, no big deal, we'll catch that. But a lot of our clients are not having January 1st, February 1st open enrollments. So if this happens at that time, just notify us that the employee's dependents are needing to be dropped off so that we can make sure that this happens in a timely fashion and there's no missing, terminations and the employer paying money for this for no reason. One other thing
And
I do want to point out on the employer side, I forgot to mention earlier. The question would naturally be, because now that there's this family, there's now the family affordability rule, does that mean that the employer has to keep the affordability for the family, keep it affordable so that they don't get penalized? And so, no, the answer is there's affordability rules for the employee that are in place. And if you're an ALE or an applicable large employer, you still have to maintain that. So that's under the 9 point whatever percent. You have to make sure your employee has at least one option through your plans. But the family, if they are deemed unaffordable, that does not impact the employer at all. They will not pay penalties on that.
Perfect, perfect. You guys, I think that'll do it. Please let us know if you have any questions. Like I said, we have some great resources for you and your employees. And have a wonderful day, and we hope to see you soon out there.
Take care.